When we talk about climate change, people are like, what is the action being taken? And then I remind them that there's also a term called sustainability that you need to focus on.
The world is yours for the taking. Let's talk about dreams, challenges, and triumphs of the next generation on my youth talk show, Say Something with Mads. I am Madhumita, and I have a special guest today joining me from Delhi, Palakh Khanna. Hiya, Palak. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you so much.
There is a lot to talk about. Palak is a change maker. If I start talking about her, the whole episode will go in what she has achieved at this young age. She's just 19 and she has a lot on her plate. She is a founder of Break the Ice, social venture. She talks about gender equality. She talks about taboo topics. Also, she's on the list of India 20 under 20 list. She is UN SDG ambassador. This is something which is very close to my heart also. So I would ask her to talk about this later in our journey. She represents Asia Pacific and a lot more. So let Palak speak about all this through the interview and let me not take time to talk about her. So, Palak, what does your beautiful name mean? And who is Palak as a person? What's your like, dislike? What are you doing now for the audience? Over to you.
Thank you so much. Firstly, I think the name Palak, everybody knows, means eyelashes. But I
Okay.
asked my mom, so my mom gave me the name Palak, and I asked my mom, why am I named eyelashes? How does that make sense? I mean, it's
Okay.
a body part, it's an important body part, but how does it relate to me as a person? So my mom said, since you mentioned it's an important body part, you are important in everyone's life. So if you take the deeper meaning of Palak, it's not just eyelashes, but it's being important. So I think that is where the term is from. And my entire family gave it to me. Actually, they sat down one day and they were like, we'll give her the best name possible, a full Punjabi family name discussion. And in terms of who I am, I think I describe myself as an optimistic, overly ambitious, happy go lucky person. I am extremely ambitious, which I believe personally is a good trait of mine. Otherwise, I would just be lazy and procrastinate. And I just love wanting to achieve more and more in life, whether it's creating social impact. I have two parts to me. One side is about social impact, creating a better society, and the other is just being ambitious and achieving a lot. So I think that's how I describe myself. I do try to be very, very optimistic, but I have my moments. So yes.
What are you doing in education right now? Where are you studying and what are your subjects?
So currently, I am a second year undergraduate student at Gargi College, Delhi University. I am doing English honors with a minor in business economics because I feel like I love all of them. I love all the subjects. So yes,
So you were always a good student when in school? You were always a topper?
I was the nerd. Yes.
Oh, okay. So that's how you like all the subjects. Great. So let's start with the first question. Like you have a lot on your plate. Uh, we will do it one by one. But is there something, one cause which is very close to your heart and you want to pursue this in a longer run for the longest period of time? So which one would it be?
I think it will be my organization only. So I have an organization called Break the Ice where we try to literally break the ice about taboo topics. I think I never, it's interesting that I say that it's like the most important thing for me because I never thought I'll be an entrepreneur. I was one of the biggest introverts you'll ever meet. And like I
Okay.
mentioned, I was the
This is
nerd. So
which
I was the
age you're talking about? This is like
until
which age all the
until
change
class
happened?
11th. Until class
Okay.
11th, I was the biggest introvert. I was the nerdy introvert who wanted to get good marks and like stay in her own space, never really,
Hmm.
go out of my way to explore anything. And it was the pandemic which happened, and I overheard this conversation which drastically changed my opinion. And I was like, you know what, I need to create a space where we talk about taboo topics or things which people don't want to talk about. So I think that's how the transition happened. I completely transformed as a person. I was like, I don't think entrepreneurship is for me because entrepreneurs have to be outgoing and extroverted, interact with so many people like mentors,
Hmm.
your audience, your community, investors.
Hmm.
But I just took the leap of faith and here we are today. I think so. Yes, that's the closest to me.
Oh, that's an amazing backstory. That you were till grade 11, you didn't. Many people start very young, but what was there was something inside you, right? That something which said that this needs to be done. So were you always very vocal? If you're not, you're saying that you are very introvert, but did you have this seed of like, why is this is just, this is unjust, and this is fair, this is not fair? Did you question all these things?
Yeah, so I was an introvert, but I was an opinionated introvert. Didn't really share
Yes.
my opinions, but I always had a lot of them. And I was very passionate about the environment, actually. I was like, I have to do something related to the environment from the time that I was very young, like fifth grade. I used to tell my
Mm.
mom, when I grow up, I'll do something related to the environment. But I
Mm.
think the introvert me took over. I didn't really do anything about it until I actually opened Break the Ice.
Mm. You know, this I've been interviewing so many youth, and all of them says that this pandemic has been a game changer, life changer for many, for good. There are so many people who suffered so badly, but this young people bloomed during this because it was all online. They connected with youth around the globe, and then they shared their opinions, and then they found out what is their niche area to work on. So when you said that Break the Ice talks about all possible topics of which are taboo topics, which are brushed under the carpet, so what would those topics be, and how what are the things which you say is still in Indian society a very taboo topics? You'll take top three or four. Which topics?
So, we talk about everything taboo from mental health to menstruation to gender equality to climate change. And we've tried to expand it from not just taboo, but also things where action is not being taken. So, climate change,
Mm.
people are talking about it. It's not a taboo, but people aren't taking action in a way where there is actually efficiency happening or, effective transformation happening. So, we've tried to
Mm.
expand it to that. And in terms of India and taboos, I think there are a lot, unnecessary taboos, honestly, whether we talk about gender equality, whether we talk about sex education, whether we talk about menstruation as well. People are so uncomfortable conversing about it, and it's like the most natural process. So I think
Mm.
that is one of the taboos that I feel needs to be erased the second we are talking, because all the
Mm.
others would gradually take time. Menstruation, I don't understand why it's a taboo. So I think that's how
Mm.
my journey also started. So, like I was mentioning, the turning point happened during the pandemic. I overheard this conversation between my mom and my domestic help. She had had her periods at a place. She was shying away from the conversation. And I was
Mm.
like, Mama, we live in the 21st century. What are we doing? Menstruation, periods, it's like the reason why humanity exists. So we should
Mm.
really get over that. And that's how I actually created Break This. I thought, no, we really need to do something about this.
Mm. But do you see, since the time you started and since now you are, you have been talking about this, do you actually feel there has been a change? Do the young people open up and talk? How are the boys reacting to it? How are the men reacting to this?
Absolutely. So we have done 2 to 3 events on menstruation, and we've included all men in those. So one of our events was a pad drive plus workshop with other organizations. We collaborated for this. We went to school students, amongst which half
Mm.
of them were men. And we
Mm.
educated them about why it should not be a taboo at the first place. And then we distributed pads, and the boys were looking at us perplexed that we've learned about
Mm.
it, but what do we do about the pads? And we were like, go give
Mm.
it to the female in your family you feel
Oh,
like
wow.
deserves it. And
This is
someone who might
amazing.
shy away from it. So I think we were taking little steps to just ingrain in their mind that there is a need to shift from that mindset.
Yeah, this is awesome. This line, because I was speaking to another changemaker from Delhi who is also a young boy, Arav Seth. He
Mhm.
also does a lot of he talks about menstrual hygiene, menstrual poverty, and he does this. So coming from a young boy was also amazing. And when you say that, yeah, the distribution of the pad, what you want to do with it and give it to somebody, that's amazing. And I think this also is the menstrual. I'm talking about pads, talking about openly about it, also about the advertisement with Akshay Kumar did, has a lot of remember that
Mhm.
cigarette, एक cigarette
Yeah,
मत
yeah,
पियो
yeah.
एक बीवी को pad. So I think these kind of talks openly is really going to help people out. Amazing,
Mhm.
amazing work. All right, let's start to again talk about climate change. What you are saying that you people are working towards it, but what
Mhm.
actually is the ground reality? What do you tell people to do? Is it something concrete actions which they can take to take it?
Mhm.
And you are a Asia Pacific Youth UNSDG ambassador. Talk about how you got selected as a panelist on to be on the on this platform, and about what actually happening on the ground.
So, interestingly, I've tried to link climate change to sustainability because I have
Yes, of
realized that
course.
when we talk about climate change, people are like, "What is the action being taken?" And then I remind them that there is also a term called sustainability that you need to focus on. So, I've been working on sustainability indirectly towards climate change, whether it's through Break the Ice, where we were organizing events, where we were bringing people from UN, UNICEF to just help people understand what is being done at the international level and what you can do at the grassroots level. That's how we initiated conversations. And as a regional officer for Asia Pacific at STS and Youth, I'm trying to just break those conversations in the entire Asia Pacific region to understand how we can achieve the SDGs by 2030. So the mandate is to achieve it by 2030, which will not happen.
Not
Everybody has
happen.
accepted the fact that it will
Hmm.
not happen, but understanding where we are going wrong so that at least we have some amount of impact by 2030, because it's still 7 years to go. We shouldn't be
Hmm.
giving up hope.
Hmm.
So I think that's what I'm working for. And as a regional officer, I'm looking for all young individuals who are involved in schools and university systems in the entire
Hmm.
Asia Pacific region to work towards SDGs. So that's the basic plan of how we are working. And along with
Hmm.
that, I'm also working on this different initiative on sustainability. It's interesting because we are working on sustainability in food. So it's called the Delhi Smart Protein Project. It's under the Good Food Institute India. And there we are working towards actually, and it's completely different, but it's actually the groundwork that we've been doing. It's not about awareness building, it's about understanding how we can shift to plant based meat. So 80 to 90% of people are non vegetarians. You can have the meat, but instead of, destroying the environment and animals for that, shift to plant based meat, which tastes exactly the same, has a sustainable element to it, and also does
Hmm.
not damage the environment. So we're working on that, and we're working to
Hmm.
bring students under it to just become aware, create that buzz about it in India, because it's
Hmm.
easy to shift towards that. It's just that there is a
Hmm.
lack of knowledge. So yes.
Hmm. Yes, because if you're spoken enough, if people advertise about this enough, people are going to shift. How everybody is looking at vegan,
Mhm.
will also look at McDonald's burger with a veggie patty instead of a chicken patty, a patty made
Mhm.
up of, and it will taste as tasty as your chicken patty is. I think many of these food industry people are looking at this option, and I think you are
Mhm.
this organization which you're working with in there for the Delhi government is also a great first step to even make event. So do tell me, do you how do when you talk to people that okay, this is also protein and this is also tastes good, so do you give is there a possibility that they taste something to know that yes, this, so how is it
So,
happening?
with Good Food Institute India, what we've tried to do is we are doing tasting events. We are bringing in
Okay.
companies that
Yeah.
have that technology, and they're
Mm,
using that technology to build plant-based proteins. We feature them, and people get to taste. And some of the reactions are so good that they are like, "We wouldn't have realized this is not chicken if you wouldn't
yeah.
have told us." So it's really
Mm.
interesting because it's a growing industry, but I think it
Mm.
deserves a lot of hype because it can
Oh.
really, really transform the entire food industry.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is where, again, subtly we are changing the mindset of people. 10 years down the line, these things will
Mhm.
become a very common and goes on forever. Especially if you connect it to UN, young people and then SDG goals and say, okay, we are doing this by changing just a habit, just eating
Mhm.
one item can change the whole impact on the earth. That's amazing. Okay, coming to the next question is about now that you are 19, you are the limelight is on you and a lot of media attention. You are always giving interviews talking about this cause. Where do you see yourself 20 years from now with this cause? Do you think the whole limelight or the focus shifts when you are adult to a new person who is joining in? So it's like a baton, right? It's like a relay race. You pass it on to somebody else and do how does the organization your organization Break the Ice work? Do you have many young people, or you are the one who is working alone?
So, answering the first part of the question, I think I wish that we could focus on the work rather than
Mm.
limelight. Honestly, even when I give interviews, I always say that let's focus on what is the impact. So, I'm looking to build that impact in the next 20 years where we have a society where there are no taboos and we're focusing on achieving sustainability. That's my goal. That's the goal I want everyone to focus on. And I think I would want to take the youth along with me because even in Break the Ice, we work with everyone youth. So
Mm.
everybody who's a part of the team, there are 90 members in the team, is from 30.
90.
Yes.
Wow. You have a big organization. Amazing. Wow, lovely. Okay.
So everybody in the team is from 13 to 22. We have 1 to 2 members who are elder, which is great because you also get that different perspective. But we are trying to focus on building a community where the youth is focusing on just breaking the ice without any judgment. So it's
Mm.
also an empowerment movement. So
Mm.
yes, I think that's the idea. I think I would be a sustainability and I don't know how to term it, not a taboo leader, a mindset leader, honestly, where
Okay.
will be there, where will there be no taboos. That
Okay.
is something I want to aim for.
You
I'll have
like
an app.
to go everywhere around the world speaking on world stage, you see yourself, or you have your own company on sustainability, you are doing, what do you see yourself?
I definitely look forward to taking Break the Ice forward. So I would want
Yeah.
to have Break the Ice as my company. I would want to be an entrepreneur. One of my dreams is to feature somewhere on Forbes, which I'm hoping
Yeah.
might happen till 39. I'm just wishing for it to happen. It's more of a different kind of goal. It's more of a quantitative goal just because of the name, but it's also because I think that will also act as an important motivator for me
Yes.
because the introverted me could have never imagined to feature on such a big platform. So I think that's the goal, and that's also one of my biggest dreams.
That's beautiful. That's something, a dream to wish for. Okay, Palak, tell me, you work with all this. You have cut out your work as well as you have your studies. You are doing BA. How do you manage if you are not there on the field? How will this organization work, and how do you manage this time management skill for the people who think that 24 hours is even less? How do you get this time to do so much in one particular day? Do you prioritize things? You are a very good organizer. Do you have a bulletin board or something you write every day? These are the things I have to do. How do you function?
Yeah, so I am pretty organized in a way where I hate that I'm that organized. But obviously,
Okay.
it benefits me during the day. I have to-do list. I call them practical to-do list because I never write too much on a to-do list just because I feel demotivated if I'm not able to complete the daily to-do list. So they're
Mm.
realistic, yet
For
something that I
example,
have to.
just come give one day's idea of how today's to-do list would be.
So today's to-do list was, of course, once I'm back from college, that's when the to-do list starts. So I come back by 5, and that's when my meetings happen. So actually, basically, once I'm back from college, I focus on my schedule. If there are any
Mm.
meetings, let's focus on that. Once the schedule is done, that's when I focus on Break the Ice. That's when I focus on SDS and youth. That's when I focus on also creating content because I love doing that as well. So,
On LinkedIn, you write
yes.
regularly.
Yes.
Mm.
I also have a newsletter with Teal Feed. So I'm just, I also give half 1 hour to that so that I can just express my opinions on a daily basis. Because that's also something that I like to do as a break. So it's not too much of a work for me because I love writing. So Break the
Mm.
Ice, SDS and Youth, writing,
All
and
this take priorities.
yes.
Also, I think your English, just BA in English, also you are doing a lot of writing, a lot of these skills automatically develop. So I think this exam part and all will not be such a huge thing for you, because you are continuously in the process of creating writing, and you speak. So I think that's taken care of. What do you do about your mental fitness or physical fitness? Do you do something regularly?
So I have my 20 minutes of workout thrice a week. That's I've set it for thrice a week because I know I'm able to achieve that, but no
That,
more
yes.
or no less than that. That's the
Oh,
goal.
yes.
I do not increase it more because I feel like if I do, I'm not able to achieve it, then I get demotivated. So keep middle
Mm.
goals so that smart goals so that at least you're able to achieve it. So I do workout thrice a week, and in terms of my mental health, I just journal. I love
Yeah.
journaling. I
Mm.
feel like it helps me express my emotions so much better Otherwise, like I said, I was an introvert. I haven't transitioned completely into an extrovert. I'm still an ambivert. So when I'm
Mm,
writing, I just feel like all the emotions that I couldn't express, it comes out, and I just feel calmer for the next day. So yes.
mm. Oh, lovely. Coming to your role model, who would be your role model and why?
I don't have a role model. Honestly, whenever someone asks me, I feel like I take on energies, I take on good attitudes of
From
people.
people.
And I feel like I want to learn from people in terms of, I don't want to be an inspiration myself. I want to be someone who's imperfectly perfect, just because that's more human. And I love
Mm,
that about other people also. I try to take the goods, hopefully all the goods, and I just
mm.
try to be like the best version of myself, basically. So I don't have an inspiration. I have a lot of people I look up to.
Look up to. There are not one single person who follow. Okay. And what about you while our conversation happened, you also talked about your strength and limitations. But now I'll ask you specifically, what do you think is your strength and what do you think is the limitation you're working on?
One of my strengths would be being optimistic. I feel like we as individuals, we can change the whole world if we want to, even if it's like almost naive in a way where I'm like expecting too much out of myself, but I just feel like it's a positive. I take that
Mm,
also as a positive. I'm very ambitious to change the entire world, which is a strength of mine. The weakness would be that I overthink a lot. So, when
mm,
you're connected with the ambition, it might multiply whenever it wants to. So I
mm.
try to like stay under, just stay calm, but I do overthink a lot.
You all creative people do that. What if, what happens now? All right. Since you work with a lot of issues, so you would be the right person if I ask you what you think is the biggest global issue now facing the humanity.
I think it's the lack of quality education. So SDG 4, something I am extremely passionate about. I feel like once people are educated, half of the SDGs would get resolved, or people would
Mm,
at least start talking, or at least taking action for all the other things which are going wrong if you are educated well. And by
Advice,
quality education, I mean not just simple education, also education about mental health, about taboo topics. Everything and
mm,
anything would come under education.
gender equality, about people who are migrating, how people are moving from. Everything is connected to,
Being
as you said,
educated.
if you are educated, that opens up a new vista, a new world to you. That's true. And if I ask you that you are working with youth and you have 90 people whom you are working with in the organization, what is that one thing, as Palak, like, don't answer me as a person who is working on that. Take back a step and just look around. What is the issue which is troubling the youth the most?
I think getting their due share of respect to a lot of people. Honestly, at the global level, I think a lot of young people who are involved in the organization who I meet every day through LinkedIn. I've realized everybody is saying that we want to represent the country, we want to be a part of the decision making process at a national, international level, but maybe we're not getting the access to that. So I think if I would, ever say what is the biggest issue the youth is facing, I think that just having the
You think
right
it's
to
an
also be.
identity crisis? They want
I,
some. No.
I don't think it's an identity crisis at a personal level. It's more of a global thing that maybe the youth can also be added to decision making processes, to national involvement, basically. Because all of us, we are working at our own levels. We are getting involved in local organizations. We're maybe opening our organizations. But in terms of national, international involvement, we can be added more. I think that's where the age bracket makes us fall back.
Palak, since I've been in teaching
Mhm.
senior grades from grade 10 to grade 12 since a long time. So now I'm asking this, you said that yes, people want to do something, but they don't know where, they're not given weightage of their importance is there. So do you think that when I look at the youth,
Mhm.
I feel that they have so much time at hand and they are not utilizing it? What do you have to say about that? Do you think they are purpose driven, and how do you get this purpose? See, you have a full youth group who is doing, but many of the youth, they are just whiling away the time. We need to engage them, we need to give them a purpose, that
Absolutely.
take one goal at a time and work. In my school, I tell them that This group 5 students will give one goal and work on it for 2 3 months and see what
Mhm.
you like it or not. So how do you think they find a purpose in life? That's what is missing, I think. What do you have to say?
Definitely. I think all of us have a purpose, but we are not able
Mm,
to find it as quickly as
mm,
maybe at the age of 17, 18, 19, even
mm.
up to, below 15. And I
Yeah,
think
much later also we don't find it. Yeah.
So I think the thing is we should sit down and just understand one or two of our interests. That's what I started out with. That maybe
Mm,
things that I already know about or want to know about can be things that I turn into my purpose. So
mm,
if something does not interest me, honestly, maths never interested me. So if you would
correct.
say that pursue maths or do something in maths or create change through maths, I may or may not be interested in it. But the moment
Mm,
someone would say social impact, I would know I'm already inclined to the conversation. So I think that
mm,
will automatically motivate me to waste less time. So I think the
mm.
first thing is just understanding your interest. I know half of the people would be like, I don't think I have an interest. Honestly,
Yeah.
conversations with yourself, with other people, with your friend groups
Yes.
are the biggest source of understanding what actually
Correct.
interests you. Where do you have the opinions? I think
True.
when you understand that,
That's true. So if, yeah, if that is one thing which they can find out early, there will be a lot of issues, even for mental issues, depressions, anxiety, which they go through, not knowing what to do. If they find the purpose, things will automatically ease out. Yes, that is what we need them to, like, guide them towards that one purpose. Maybe it can be many purpose. Maybe they can change, but at least get one for the time being. Um, yeah, my next question to you would be, Palak, do you read books, or you are into watching podcast or something? And if you share something with our audience, because they are mostly youth, so if you think that you follow somebody, and anything which inspires you, any movie, any podcast, or any books.
So I was a reader. I'll be very honest. I have left reading because I don't have the time for it. Honestly, I want to focus on books, but I do it like I read 2 books a month, which according to me is a very small number, and I
With
want to
all the work
increase
you
that.
are doing, it's amazing. No, 2 books is very good at this age when you are doing so much good. Hmm.
So personally, I used to love reading books, and I have two sides to reading to everything. Whether I'm watching movies, books, I have two genres that I have to, and they're drastically different from each other. One of them is educational, informative, learning, and the second one is completely different, which is thrillers. I love
I love thrillers. I love thrillers too. Yeah, thriller genre, mystery, murder. Yeah.
psychology thrillers. I can watch anything related to, something which gives my mind a confused answer. So I think thrillers as well as educational, I can read any book, I can watch, I can listen to any podcast. Movies, personally, I've kind of left the habit of.
Genre.
But I love listening to podcasts. I think they are very, very underrated. I know people are talking about podcasts, but in terms of all the other entertainment channels, podcasts are still underrated because the educational value of podcasts is massive. I love
Mm.
this podcast by Raj Shamani. It's called Figuring Out with Raj Shamani.
All right.
It's a beautiful one. I think all the youth must listen to it. It's just about figuring out life, and
Oh,
it's almost as if he's talking about adulting through a podcast. A stranger talking about adulting. It's very comforting. It's very educative. So I think that's my favorite.
lovely. I would have to hear. Okay, Palak, now is the section when I ask you some questions which will make you think a bit. Let's see, you come out with awesome answers so far. You've been so impressive. What if you have to write a book on yourself? What would the title of the book be?
From an introvert to talking to thousands of people, something like that. It has to be
Okay,
from an introvert.
your journey, your own journey of introvert to an extrovert, or to a change maker. All right. Palak, my next question is, if you have to take 3 people, 3 living people from across anywhere in the world to a dinner, who would those 3 people be? You want to have conversation with, and where would you take them?
This is going to be such a cliche answer, but my family. I think I've
All,
never had, a good dinner for the very long time with my family, like outside of home. I've had good dinners, but I think just enjoying that time. So, yes,
okay. So your mom, dad, sister,
yes,
and
three
you.
people.
Uh, And what is your favorite destination? Where would you go for dinner? Or you said anywhere. Where do you like to go?
I would love to go anywhere which is peaceful and where we can have meaningful conversations. So any place.
And to connect to this, when you connected it to family, so if you have to make one rule for the whole family that everybody has to follow, irrespective of anything, what would that one rule of the house be?
I've already made that rule that we're talking about everything so-called taboo in the family. We've already
Hmm.
made that.
Oh, you made the rule. Okay. So do you have dinner table conversations? Not the TV is off, TV is switched off, and you have actual conversations.
Yes, yes, we do. And we converse about everything, which is way too deep, which is way
Okay.
too irrelevant, everything in anything.
Wow, lovely. And all of you take equal part, like the topic comes and everybody discusses. That's amazing. That is how actual learning happens from everybody. Palak, if you have a choice, it's not a choice, something has happened that you can keep only three things. You have to give away all your things. You just can keep three things with you. What would those three things be? Things. I'm not talking about people. Things.
I think one of them would sadly be my phone because everything is on my mobile.
Everything. Yeah.
Uh, the second thing would be this book called Think Like a Monk. I love that book, so I'll keep it
Okay.
with me very close to my heart. The third thing would be my stuffed toy that I've had from the time that I was 3 years old, and I've kept it up till right now. And
Oh,
it's in the perfect shape. It has no tear or nothing at all. It's like in the perfect shape, and I would just want to keep that for as long as possible.
oh, wow, lovely. So you have your phone and you have a book and you have your stuffed toy for emotional support. Since you cannot take any, you cannot name any human support. Wow, lovely. Good. Okay, now uh, I know that you write poems. So you have said that you write. So we will end the talk show with one of your poems if you're ready. But before that, but before that is the section where the role reversal, where I wait for a question from you. So what would you like to ask me?
Very excited about this.
All
So
right,
my
let's.
question would be, as a teacher who, as a professional teacher, you've met so many young people out there. What is that one lesson that you tell them that they should know before they turn 20 maybe?
Very good question. Amazing. Yes, this I tell to everybody. That if you turn 20 and if you don't know anything about, if you don't know what is happening in your country, forget about the world, you don't know what is happening in India, you are so focused on your city, Mumbai, that's it. If I ask my young children about what is happening in Rajasthan, what is happening in Bihar, what is happening in South, they have no clue. Sorry to say that. It's really really sad that I say few classes I take only to tell them what is India all about. What is it? You know yourself through your country. You know it. You are just focused on studying and then going abroad. And
Mm,
why would you not know anything about your own country? Why is it such a taboo to know? Oh, you are not cool to know about your country. So this irks me a lot. And I tell them that. So they will tell me, you are teaching us history of India in chemistry class. I said, yes, I do that because I want you to know, because no other subject school has done away with history. In IB schools, we don't have Indian history. So that pains me a lot. Like you are studying about UK history, but you don't have any knowledge about Indian history. They don't have any knowledge about legislature, executive, how the government
God.
works. This is sad. So
I love that.
that's
I think there was so much of passion in that answer, but I'm also going to study more about the country.
Thank you so much for asking this lovely question. And this is one of the best questions I've had to answer. I can see why Palak is doing so well what she's doing, because you are very intuitive. You ask the right question at the right time. So, a
Thank you
lot
so
more
much.
power to you, Palak. Okay, so we will end with one of your written poems if you have.
I mean, I used to write about anything that used to trouble me. And there is one poem I wrote about changing our perspective towards the environment. I'll just tell the
Okay.
last four lines. This is so basically the entire poem talks about how the climate might change its back towards, against us if we don't do anything and if we don't change our approach. And the environment in response, because it is so giving and it is giving us a second chance, it ends by saying that we can truce if you promise to preserve me and care, to safeguard my serenity, and to treasure my flair. So this is the environment responding
Wow,
back to the
lovely.
humans.
Such beautiful use of words. Lovely. Thank you so much, Palak. And this was really an eye opener and a pleasure to know who Palak Khanna all is from away from the media and away from what I know about LinkedIn. This is what a real change maker is. And I came to know a lot about how you function, how your mind works, how your day. I hope people who are listening get inspired. And most of my listeners are youth. And thank you so much, Palak, for being here today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This was so much fun.
Great. So, um, subscribe to my channel and please leave comments and keep watching Say Something with Mads week after week, where we get change makers on a channel to speak about issues close to their heart and which impacts all youth. And before I end, as I say every week, do a little bit about your planet. Take one small step, one day each, to do something for this planet, and you will see all of us create a big change. Thank you so much.